In the 1960s, in Wales, two twin girls were born who would go on to become one of the most disturbing psychological mysteries ever recorded. Their names were June Gibbons and Jennifer Gibbons. At first, everything seemed normal. They were quiet, close, like most twins. But as they grew older, something began to change. They stopped speaking to other people completely. Teachers tried to engage them. Classmates tried to include them. But the twins refused. They would sit together, move together, and exist almost as one, silent to the world, but not to each other. Because behind that silence, they had created something else. A private language, fast, complex, almost impossible for others to understand. Even recordings of their conversations sounded distorted, like sped up speech that only they could decode. It was as if they had built their own world and locked everyone else out. Their parents became concerned. Doctors were called in. Specialists tried to understand, but nothing worked. The more people tried to separate them, the more intense their bond became. And that bond wasn't just closeness, it was control. If one moved, the other followed. If one stopped eating, the other did too. They mirrored each other in ways that went beyond normal twin behavior. It was as if they couldn't exist independently. As they entered their teenage years, things became darker. Their isolation turned into obsession. They spent hours writing stories, hundreds of pages. Stories filled with intense emotion, violence, control, fantasy mixed with reality. It was the only way they expressed themselves, because to everyone else, they remained silent. But then something changed again. Their relationship began to break, not outwardly, but internally. What once looked like perfect unity started to feel like suffocation. They couldn't live without each other, but they also couldn't live with each other. And that tension began to show. They became withdrawn even from their own shared world. Their behavior became unpredictable. At one point, they began committing crimes, arson, theft, acts that forced authorities to intervene. Eventually, both were sent to a high-security psychiatric hospital. That's where the most unsettling part of the story begins, because doctors noticed something strange. Whenever they were together, they became unresponsive, almost lifeless. But when separated, they showed signs of normal behavior. It was as if their connection was trapping them. So a decision was made. They would be separated. But before that could fully happen, something unexpected occurred. According to reports, one of the twins made a statement, a quiet agreement, that one of them had to die, so the other could live normally. Not long after that, during a routine transfer, Jennifer suddenly collapsed. No struggle, no warning, no clear medical cause. She was pronounced dead shortly after. Doctors could not fully explain it. No poisoning, no visible illness, just a sudden, unexplained death. And here's what makes it chilling. After Jennifer died, June began to change. She started speaking, communicating, engaging with people. For the first time in her life, she functioned independently, as if something had been released, or removed, or fulfilled. June later described their bond as overwhelming, like being trapped, like not having control over her own identity. And after her sister's death, that control returned. But the question still remains. What really happened between the Gibbons twins? Was it psychological dependence taken to an extreme? A shared condition no one fully understood? Or something deeper? Something that science still struggles to explain? Because their story forces one uncomfortable thought. How close can two people become before they stop being individuals? And when identity is shared that deeply, what happens when one is removed? Even today, the story of June and Jennifer Gibbons remains one of the most unsettling human mysteries, not because of what was seen, but because of what was never fully understood. History is not old. History is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Feedy,